Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All right. Can someone advise as to whether we have a quorum present?
There's a quorum present of council.
Thank you very much. All right. I'd like to call this legislative session meeting to order. And if our esteemed mayor could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor Hopkins.
Certainly. Let's pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Gibbs, would you like to proceed with your disclaimer?
Yes, good evening, everyone. This meeting is being held via Zoom pursuant to Governor Wolf's emergency declaration. As such, the meeting is being recorded. Your participation is your consent to be recorded. There is no expectation of privacy by participating in this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please proceed with roll call, beginning with our esteemed mayor.
Mayor Hopkins.
Present.
President Monroe.
Present.
Vice President Francis.
Present.
Councilor Johnson.
Present.
Councilor Cave.
Hi, everybody, I'm here.
Councilor McCabe.
Present.
Councilor Jones Waters.
Present.
Councilor Rowe-Cloud.
Here.
Solicitor Gibbs.
Present.
Ms. James will not be on tonight. Ms. Mulvana.
Here.
Mr. Nichols.
Present.
That concludes roll call.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gibbs, we are going to proceed with citizens forum. Please provide instructions and advise if there are any citizens wishing to speak.
Citizen forums is the public comment portion of this meeting. Public comment pursuant to the rules of council is limited to 3 minutes. If you wish to participate in public comment, please raise your hand in the chat box. There's one hand already raised. Please identify yourself, state your name and your address. May I recognize Leslie? The hand is raised.
Thank you.
Leslie, unmute yourself.
Hi, this is Leslie Lewis McGirth. Thank you so much for recognizing me, but that was an accident.
Thank you. There are no other hands raised in the chat box, ma'am.
Thank you. We will move on to the approval of minutes. April 15th, 2021 legislative meeting minutes.
So moved, Madam President. Second, Madam President.
Thank you. Have you been moved and properly seconded on the question? Hearing none, all in favor, I will conduct a roll call vote in the order that councilors appear on my screen. Councilor Cave.
Yes.
Councilor Francis.
Yes.
Councilor Johnson.
Yes.
I would have to go back the other way, sorry. Councilor Rowe-Cloud.
Yes.
Councilor McCabe.
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters.
Yes.
It's a yes from me. The vote is unanimous. The motion carries. In consideration for the May 4th, 2021 special meeting minutes.
So moved, Madam.
Second.
All right, having been moved and seconded, I will proceed in the order that councilors appear on my screen. Councilor Rowe-Cloud.
Yes.
Councilor McCabe.
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters.
Madam President, before Councilor Jones Waters speaks, she did email me a correction to her vote at that meeting. Councilor Jones Waters, can you make your objection or your correction for the record, please?
Yes, as I stated last week, I want that yes vote to be changed to a no vote. Thank you.
For
which item
Is
would
that
it
a,
be changed
so I'm
for?
sorry, is that a correction, or are we able to change our votes after the fact?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. Okay, Counselor Jones Waters.
So please make that correction. Thank you.
For the record, can we note exactly what vote is being changed from yes to no?
For the special meeting, the last vote.
Thank you.
what? I don't. May I ask what the item was? Just for clarity.
Concerning the statement.
Oh, on the statement. Okay.
Doesn't
That's cool.
change the procedure. Councilor Jones Waters texted me. I asked her to text the borough management, but because we're voting, it doesn't change anything substantively legislatively.
Cool.
Counselor Cave.
Are we on the vote part?
Yes.
Yes.
Counselor Francis.
Yes.
Counselor Johnson.
Yes.
The yes from me, the motion carries. Next, we will move on to our mayor's report.
Thank you, Madam President. I just have two things to report. Just from a public safety standpoint, we had an election on Tuesday, and it went pretty well. It was uneventful from a public safety standpoint. So that was great. And the only other thing is Saturday, the Pennsylvania Historical Museum Commission will be hosting a ceremony at the Nile to recognize the Nile Swim Club as a historical marker in Pennsylvania. And that will begin at 10 a.m. There'll be a lot of dignitaries. It is a dress-up event. There will be a lot of fanfare, and it's really a feather in our cap for Yeadon and for the Nile. So everybody is invited. Public's invited. Press should be on hand, and afterwards there will be a ribbon cutting ceremony for Jeff Brown, ShopRite, and the basketball courts. I believe they're investing in that venture. So that ends my report.
All right, thank you. We will move on to our manager's report.
Good evening. I ask that my report be accepted as read and submitted to caucus with one update. The virtual public meeting regarding the bike trail is being held via Zoom on Tuesday, May 25th at 6 p.m. The link is on the website. Also, there are two motions to be considered, one regarding termination and suspension of caucus meetings. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. So the first motion is consideration of terminating employee with payroll number ending 0227. This would be an employee in our code department.
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, because it is a personnel matter, we won't be entertaining question. So I'll move to the roll call vote.
Well, actually, I do have a question without divulging any pertinent information.
Councilor Roadcloud.
So we're asking for a motion for consideration of terminating an employee, but I do not have any information with respect to the issues at hand, the facts. This is the first I'm actually learning. So I feel we're being asked to terminate an employee, but we weren't provided with any information as to why we should be terminating them.
Given that I'm aware of the reason why the employee doesn't meet the qualifications the council set, i.e. could not obtain requisite, it could not obtain the requisite requirements of the council's job description that you all established.
I have a question.
Counselor Jones Waters.
My question is pretty much the same. However, that's what our executive meetings are for, to discuss employees, and we should have had an executive meeting before this meeting.
So in the event, we all received the agenda and we all received information via email from our manager. In the event that anyone raised any question, I would have gladly scheduled an executive session. Hearing that there were no questions posed prior to right now, I didn't know that there was a need to schedule an executive session. So with the information that we have from our solicitor, I'll proceed with our roll call vote. Counselor Roadcloud,
No.
Counselor McCabe,
No.
Counselor Jones Waters,
No.
Counselor Cave,
Yes.
Counselor Francis,
Yes.
Counselor Johnson.
Yes.
The yes from me, the motion carries. The next motion to entertain is the consideration of suspending the caucus meetings for the summer months, June through August.
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, I will proceed with our roll call vote. Counselor Roadcloud,
No.
Counselor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Counselor McCabe,
Yes.
Counselor Cave,
No.
Counselor Francis,
Yes.
Counselor Johnson.
Yes.
The yes from me, the motion carries. We will now move on to our solicitor's report.
Good evening, everyone. I'm asking
evening.
for permission to advertise for ordinance number 2021-1398, which relates to permit parking, establishing regulations for permit parking, and also designating the police department as the department that would receive and approve permit applications.
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded, I'll proceed with the roll call vote.
Well, what about the questions?
Counselor Roadcloud, do you have a question?
Yes, I do.
Counselor Roadcloud.
With respect to approving an ordinance relating to permit parking, is this something different from the handicap permit parking?
It is, ma'am. It's for permit parking. So one of the things that Chief Carroll has brought to me is that there's residents who are complaining about apartment overflow in the 800 block of Arbor Road. We already have permit parking at 800 Laurel. However, the process by which we have to do this every time is through an ordinance. I want to change the ordinance to allow for a resolution of council to allow for permit parking and also put standards and qualifications in place as it relates to permit parking for non-handicapped and non-disabled people.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
To advertise an ordinance, so you all would see the ordinance. I have a draft of it. I'll circulate it out to everyone. So I know we're not going to have a caucus meeting. If there are any questions, you can call me. We can discuss it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Counselor Roadcloud,
Yes.
Counselor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Counselor McCabe,
Yeah.
Counselor Cave,
Yes.
Counselor Francis,
Yes.
Counselor Johnson.
Yes.
The yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries.
Madam President, that concludes my public report. I'll be requesting a special meeting of council in the near future.
Thank you. We'll move on to our tax collector's report. I understand, Ms.
Madam
Jane.
President.
Here. Okay.
I ask that the report be submitted at the caucus, that was submitted at caucus.
All right. Thank you. Engineer's report.
Hi, everyone. Tonight,
you
the first item on the list is we're asking for authorization to replace the sanitary sewer main and probably up to 3 laterals on Union Avenue between Providence and Lincoln. I did bring this up last month. We just didn't know the scope that we would have to do. So we're estimating the cost to be $135,000.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Second.
All right, having been moved and properly seconded on the question. Hearing none, I'll proceed with the roll call vote in the order that councilors appear on my screen.
I'm sorry, Madam President. I do have a really quick question. If I might. Hi, Eileen. Is it possible that it can exceed 3 laterals?
No, there's only 3 properties.
Oh, got it. Cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Councilor Rowe,
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Councilor McCabe,
Yes.
Councilor Cave,
Sorry, yes.
Councilor Francis,
Yes.
Councilor Johnson.
Yes.
The yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries.
Thank you. The next item, council had asked about improving the lighting at the Borough Hall. So we did meet with a contractor who had an analysis done for us and developed a plan that includes putting what they call wall packs, which will be wall-mounted lights on the driveway side near the atrium, that wall by the police department, and then 2 in the back on the building, and then 7 pole-mounted lights. So you have, I believe, 4 right now. But those are very old and the lenses are yellow and the light's not getting through. So these would be LED lights. So we're asking for authorization to see if there's a CoStar vendor or to prepare bids. And the estimated cost for this is $42,000.
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded on the question.
Yes, I do have a question.
Councilor Rowe.
Okay, so Ms. Mulvana, I actually didn't hear everything that you said. So I did hear a little bit, but you said something about the lights not being able to shine through.
That's the existing lights, the parking lot lights that are in the back now. If you look at the globes, they're rather yellow in color. They're the old, actually, I don't even know what they are. They're very old though, and the globe gets damaged over time. So these would be LED lights. They will not change. The color of the glass around them will not change over time. And you'll get a lot brighter light than what you have now.
So are the globes going to be replaced?
Actually, the poles and everything will be replaced.
Okay.
And the wiring too. Right now, the wiring runs in the air it goes from pole to pole using in the air. So we're going to bury it and it'll look a lot. That's part of the high cost, is that the actual running of the wires underground.
Okay, thank you.
I had a quick question, Madam President.
Councilor Cave.
Eileen, so can you explain, so are you saying when we go through the CoStar vendor process, we don't have to bid it out? Is that right?
Correct.
And then when will we know, like will we know which, if we were able to find a CoStar vendor? Okay.
We'll let the manager know whether or not we've been able to find someone that has a contract for that.
Okay, and then when will we just need another motion once we go to actual bid if we don't find a CoStar vendor, or are we doing that all today?
No, I'm saying we'll do it. If the motion is actually, we'll do the CoStars or we'll bid.
Okay.
Depending on whether or not we can find it. So that next month you should be able to make an award.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to call for a vote.
Question.
Councilor Jones Waters.
So didn't we have the LED lighting before? Whatever happened to that?
I think Nafis may be able to speak better to that, but I don't know that it was done in the parking lot. I think that there was an attempt made to talk to the people, perhaps, that had done the rest of the lighting, but the parking lot was not done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Council, they actually only did one light that was back there on Yeadon Avenue that was over the parking lot, because the other ones they say were already replaced. But I think the issue is what I understand about the bulbs. They're like those old yellow, old school bulbs, but they did replace just the one. So that's why we moved on with this particular project. We did also put those additional lights at the front of Borough Hall. As you now walk up and it illuminates the light, so you can see it's brighter in front of Borough Hall now. That was done by Public Works maybe a month or two ago.
Actually, you had a contract to do that, but just to correct it, sorry, council authorized that.
Gotcha.
Counselor Rowe-Cloud,
Yes.
Counselor Jones-Waters,
Yes.
Counselor McCabe,
Yes.
Counselor Cade,
Yes.
Counselor Francis,
Yes.
Counselor Johnson.
Yes.
So yes for me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries.
Okay, the next item is related to, and I believe I'm saying it correctly this time, McKemie, the McKemie Court Senior Apartment Building plans that with the latest revision date of May 11th. And we're recommending an approval of preliminary / final land development approval for the project.
Madam President, now be recognized when Eileen's done.
So long as they agree to meeting all the comments in both the engineering review as well as the Delaware County Planning Department review. And that meeting is being held tonight. So whatever the planning department may come up with as comments, as so long as the applicant agrees to comply with both of those reviews, as well as the execution of a stormwater management agreement and a land development agreement.
Question.
Is there a motion first?
Before there's a motion, if I can just add on also to Eileen's motion, an execution of an escrow agreement, which the developer has indicated they want to engage in.
Yeah, that's part of the land development agreement, so.
I didn't look to see that part. Okay.
Okay.
So is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay, having been moved and properly seconded. Counselor Johnson, you had a question?
Yes, question is this the addition that's going on to Grace Court that we're speaking of?
It's actually on the property next to it. It's not an addition. It's a separate building that's being constructed on the lot next to that.
Okay,
Yes, but it's
got
the same
it.
company.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
President, who seconded the motion?
Cave seconded.
Okay, thank you.
Madam President, if I also may, I want to acknowledge and highlight the fact that code department, the engineer, myself, management, and the developer and their attorney and their engineer and their lawyer have worked on this extensively. And this is something that we, as a solicitor, I make the recommendation also for approval.
I'll call for the vote. Counselor Rowe-Cloud,
Yes.
Counselor McCabe,
Yes.
Counselor Jones-Waters,
Yes.
Counselor Cave,
Yes.
Counselor Francis,
Yes. Counselor
Johnson.
Yes.
So yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is we sent out 3 quotes for the site preparation for the National Fitness Court at the Yeadon Community Park. And this is that grant that you guys received for that exercise equipment. So a slab has to be poured, and we did get 3 quotes. I believe we sent the tabulation. So we're recommending an award to the Urnell Company in the amount of $17,250. They were the low bid.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded on the question,
I have a question.
Counselor Rowe-Cloud.
Did we receive the grant already, or we have to put the money out first? I believe this is the $30,000 grant, and we're still responsible for the remaining $155,000, right?
I think if Miranda's there, I think you did get the 30,000. I'm not positive though on that.
Yes, they granted us the 30.
Good.
Thank you.
Counselor Rowe-Cloud,
Yes.
Counselor McCabe,
Yes.
Counselor Jones-Waters,
Yes.
Counselor Cave,
Yes.
Counselor Francis,
Yes.
Counselor Johnson.
Yes.
So yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries.
Madam
Thank
President,
Councilman
may I
Francis?
say, may I say one other thing too? I want to thank the mayor. The letters have gone out to corporations, and we've been following up with the letters to make sure that they did receive them, and how urgent that we do believe that this is needed for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Eileen?
Okay.
Madam President, yeah, just to underscore Councilor Francis's point and some other councilors, yeah, we are trying to recoup some of the costs by soliciting businesses and partnershiping with them. So to Councilor Francis's point, they did go out, and we're working the business community to see if they would invest in our community and our children. So I just wanted to underscore that specifically.
Yes, and I think
have a
it's also
question.
worth to be noted that their the equipment is nearly 30 years old. So regardless of whether we're glad that we received the grant, but it's long overdue for the equipment to be replaced. Councilor
I have
Jones?
a question. Yes. So, what's the status on that? Mayor Hopkins, you mentioned guys reached out to the businesses. What's the status?
Status is they have to, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the status is they have to get back to us and see how much money they're going to donate individually. So it's ongoing.
All right, Eileen?
Okay, the next item is also related to the National Fitness Court project, and we're asking for authorization to prepare bids for the actual equipment. The way the project will be executed now is that we'll bid the equipment. The contractor will have prepared the slab. The Public Works Department will be working with a consultant, and they'll be installing the equipment to save some money. So actually, that motion's not on here. But anyway, I'll leave that, and then I'll look up the amount of the consultant. But so that's the motion, is to authorize us to prepare bids for the actual fitness equipment.
So moved, ma'am.
Second.
All right, having been moved and seconded on the question. Hearing none, I'll proceed with the roll call vote. Councilor Rowe-Cloud?
Yes.
Councilor Jones-Waters?
Yes.
Councilor McCabe?
Yes.
Councilor Cave?
Yes.
Councilor Francis?
Yes.
Councilor Johnson?
Yes.
The yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries.
Okay, I'll do the next one, and if I don't find it by the time I'm finished mine, I'll ask to be recognized later. The next one is the consideration to authorize us to prepare bids for creating an access door and a stairway from the third floor lunchroom to the roof section that houses the HVAC units. And that estimate, just so you know, the estimate from the architect is $40,000.
So moved, ma'am. Second.
All right, having been moved and seconded on the question.
Yeah, I have one question, Madam President.
Mayor Hopkins?
Yeah, Eileen, can you let us know the purpose of that again, please?
Yes, there is no access to the HVAC, the roof that the HVAC units sit, and that's the roof section that still needs to be replaced. So if that roof section is going to be replaced, the HVAC contractor wants a safe way to get to the units and to access them for maintenance. So we're doing this first, and then after that, then the roof can be replaced. The HVAC units will have to be lifted and put back down. But he's been climbing a ladder, apparently, and it's not an attached ladder. It's like we all have at our homes, and he's been feeling rather unsafe, and it probably is a violation. So we're making a safe structure for access.
All right.
Okay, thanks for explaining.
I have a question.
Councilor Jones-Waters?
Is this the same roof issue that we voted on last year?
No.
It hasn't been fixed yet?
No, it's
No, we repaired
You
other parts
haven't,
of the roof.
you did the rest.
This was the access. We've been talking about getting someone to bid for the roof access. We have had the conversation, but now we're actually going on to the bid. So the work can be done. Councilor Rowe-Cloud,
Yes.
Councilor McCabe,
Yes.
Councilor Jones-Waters,
Yes.
Councilor Cave,
Yes.
Councilor Francis,
Yes.
Councilor Johnson.
Yes.
So yes, from me, the vote is unanimous. The motion carries.
Okay, the next item is, there is a grant being announced. It's I think I mentioned it last month, and it's one of the items that you can use this for is to construct ADA compliant curb cut ramps. And so it's called a multimodal transportation grant. So we're being asked to, we're asking to be authorized to prepare the grant application.
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded on the question.
I have a question.
Councilor Rowe-Cloud.
So do we have a list of areas where we plan to install the curb cuts?
So
No,
for now,
we-
we're just asking for the authorization to apply for the grant. Given the status of the grant, I'm sure Eileen will identify the areas that would need servicing. So this is just to apply for the grant.
And I can say we're thinking that we would start at the school areas and work our way out from the schools.
Very good. Thank you.
Councilor Rowe-Cloud,
Yes.
Councilor McCabe,
Yes.
Councilor Jones-Waters,
Yes.
Councilor Cave,
Yes.
Councilor Francis,
Yes.
Councilor Johnson.
Yes.
So yes, from me, the vote is unanimous. The motion carries.
And there is another grant that is coming out. It's called the Transportation Alternative Set Aside Outreach Grant. And what we're proposing is that this be, you apply for a grant for West Cobbs Creek Parkway, and it would do we would apply for multiple things. One would be, you're doing all the sewer work there. However, Penvest doesn't pay for the reconstruction of the roadway. So you would be paying for that locally. We're suggesting that you apply for that, the reconstruction of the roadway when they finish that work, so that you're not paying for that. It also would pay for curb cut ramps along West Cobbs Creek, which you would need to do it when you reconstruct the road. You're required to put compliant curb cut ramps. Another item is, if you go on West Cobbs up near Longacre, you can see that there's that landscaped island that runs. It's a very wide street there, and they have that landscaped island. We're proposing that we place them at various locations going down West Cobbs, because once you pave West Cobbs, that will be like a raceway, and people will have, you know, right now the condition of the roadway is not that great, and it does act as like a traffic calming mechanism. It causes people to go a little more slowly, but once it's a smooth road, and this also is your gateway, we think that would be a really attractive add to the roadway. And it also will pay for a transit structure, and I believe there was talk about getting a new one down at the Triangle, so we could apply for that. And then lastly, it will pay for traffic signal improvements as well. So we're hoping that we could apply for the signal improvements that are needed at McDade and West Cobbs.
Great, that sounds great. Is there a motion for all of these lovely grants?
So moved, Madam President.
So moved.
Second.
All right, having been moved and properly seconded on the question.
Yeah, I have a question, Madam President. Eileen, we've been talking about this for, I think a better part of a decade, and I've been taking a lot of hits from residents that when is it, and I've told them over the years, it's coming. We have to put sewer there. I'm talking namely McDade down West Cobb Street to the trolley tracks where it's really bumpy. And, you know, we've been talking about it for over a decade. Could you give us any kind of timeline that would at least, you know, reassure our residents? of when this is going to be totally fixed as far as the road work is concerned, and perhaps a traffic signal there?
So, Mayor, can I ask that we ask that question after we complete the motion?
Okay, I thought
We'll
it
circle
was.
back to that question after we
Okay,
complete
I
the
thought it
motion.
was. Okay.
The motion is to authorize them to apply for the grants.
So
Okay.
moved.
So it's
Second.
been moved and seconded, I believe, already. Is that right, Miranda?
Sorry, I don't know. I'm sitting here
Okay.
trying to and I missed it.
Okay.
It has been moved and seconded. That is
That's correct.
And,
All right.
and Elaine, if I may, Mr. Mayor, one of the things that we discussed as we were preparing this motion and this grant is to do a communication for the community as it relates to an infrastructure update that kind of would give you a timeline and maybe even some renderings of what it would look like contingent on us receiving the funding, because this is like a $4 million project. Well, everything we'll do is it will cost about $4 million. So we are in the process of putting together that communication that we would like to get out early June, actually. Eileen, Miranda, and I just had a conference call today about it.
Oh, that'd be really helpful. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Rowe-Cloud?
Yes.
Councilor McCabe?
Yes.
Councilor Jones-Waters?
Yes.
Councilor Cave?
Yes.
Councilor Francis?
Yes.
Councilor Johnson?
Yes.
The yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries. Eileen, is there a timeline expected?
So the grant is, it sounds like the grant will be opening for, where you can access the grant paperwork in June or July, and then it looks like it will close. The last time they did this was in 2017, so I'm going back and looking at the path that they took then. They closed the grant in September, and then they awarded the projects in early the next year. So if they follow that same timeline, the grant awardees would be announced early next year. And then they plan on, it runs through PennDOT. So there's a whole review process when you deal with PennDOT. And they're looking for construction to be done in 2 years.
All right.
So it
and then
is
we
a
will-
lengthy thing. It's just that it's a lot of work that would get done.
All right. And so with that, we will also follow up with correspondence to the residents
Yeah.
if we receive more information.
That'd
Thank you
be
so
great.
much.
Yes.
All right.
And I
the
will
next-
have to ask, I have to look for that last motion for the consultant. So I'm going to look on my computer while you guys go on, and if I find it, I'll raise my hand.
All right. So
Thank you.
thank you. We'll move on to our finance
Before-
report. Councilor
Before
King.
Eileen moves away, could I ask a question?
Councilor
Madam
McCabe.
Eileen, this past week, we had a construction on Union Avenue, and that blocked up Lansdowne Avenue. And I wanted to know if you've thought about having another road that has access all the way to Baltimore Pike. Now I know Church Lane does, but that's further down. And I wondered if there's any way possible to make Wycombe, that little section that's one way going to Baltimore Pike, make it one way the other way, so that would be one more street that would take you out to Baltimore Pike, and Lansdowne Avenue wouldn't be like Schuylkill Expressway.
So, Councilor McCabe, in the interest of time, I'm sorry, we can definitely have conversations about this offline with the management and Eileen and the police department. It sounds like a much more in-depth conversation than should be scheduled for our legislative session. But we can definitely, Eileen, Chief, Miranda, Mr. Nichols, can you all follow up with Dr. McCabe to get the gist of what it is that she's requesting?
Sure.
All right. Thank you very much.
And I did find the proposal, if I could do that last motion now.
Eileen?
Yeah, so the last motion would be to authorize the award to accept the proposal from EIS, which their name is Engineered Installation Solutions, and they will be providing the construction installation supervision, and their price is $10,500.
And this is for the exercise equipment. Is there a
Yes,
motion?
yes.
Okay. So moved, Madam President.
Second.
Have you been moved and properly seconded on the question? Hearing none, I will proceed with the roll call vote. Councilor Roadcloud,
Yes.
Councilor McCabe,
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Councilor King,
Yes.
Councilor Francis,
Yes.
Councilor Johnson.
Yes.
The yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries. Councilor Cave, can you proceed with the finance reports? Thank you, Eileen.
Yes, hi, everybody. Hi, Councilor. Councilman, I have a motion to consider the accounts payable list, please.
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
Have you been moved and properly seconded on the question?
Yes, I have a couple of questions.
Councilor Roadcloud.
First question, upon my review of this list here, I noticed that there's another $5,000 being paid to the deputy tax collector. If my memory serves me correctly, we were told that one payment of $5,000 was going to be made, and that was it. So now I see another payment, which actually adds up to $10,000. So when did this second payment come about?
Councilor, the deputy tax collector has stepped in when Ms. James was out ill and did a lot of audits and work, and she filled in for Mrs. James to get things caught up over there in the tax office.
Oh, so this is a second step in, because I remember the end of maybe earlier this year or the end of last year, she received the payment. So
this was
so this is
happened this year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have a question.
Councilor Jones Waters.
In reference to that, previously when the request or motion was asked to give Miss Jillian $5,000 so she can help straighten out the mess of the tax collector, and it was stated that she would just get $5,000. And so if you're saying that now she's getting another $5,000 for this year, then why didn't we have a previous discussion as to why? And we should have agreed on it before now.
So this is contracted professional services. With the tax collector out and deadlines to meet for the state, for the county, we needed to make sure that the taxes were, that the tax situation was handled for our residents. This was not scheduled. This is, we elected to have Ms. Serve as our deputy tax collector. No one anticipated having to use her, but in the best interest of making sure that the tax files for our residents were in order, we had to contract for more services. So this will fall under professional services that don't require an additional vote.
Again, we should have been told previously.
Well, we knew that Ms. James was out for an extended period of time. That was communicated. Are there any questions?
Well, I didn't know.
Okay. Are there any more questions regarding the AP report before we call for the vote?
No, I actually have another question. Health communications. I'm noticing for the last 3 months, her payments are staggered, and it looks like she's being paid twice in different amounts. Example, this month it's $1087.50 in addition to a $975. So there's two payments. In April, a $975 and an $881. Then I went back to March and I see it was a payment for a $1256. So I'm just kind of confused with respect to what kind of web design services are we receiving for those types of payments?
So there's a flat fee for the web design services, but then there are also ad hoc services that are required. For instance, the mayor had a senior expo and we asked them to design a flyer for that. That would change the amount of the invoice. So the invoices are submitted and reviewed, and you're welcome to go to our office, the office with Ms. Sheila, and review the invoices that come through.
Well, that's not the issue. And with respect to that senior expo, I was specifically told that the borough does not have anything to do with that expo. So
I'm not, that came out of the mayor's office. That was incorrect. It was the mayor senior expo. It was advertised on our website. It was advertised on other social media, and it was also a flyer for it.
So
in the flyer is the mayor's expo.
So is that money coming out of the mayor's budget or not?
That would be a question for Mr. Nichols.
Counselor, when we journalize everything in the system, yes, it's put in an appropriate budget line item. And that anything related to the mayor's office goes to the mayor's budget when it's journalized on a monthly basis. The cash, the budget versus actual report is the one that shows you the line items in detail, and it will have all of the information where each charge went to.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Are you done? I'm sorry, Councilwoman.
I have one more question, but if it's relating to the Hoff Communications issues, then this would be the appropriate time, I believe.
Yes, I have a question as it relates to that. I just want to piggyback on the event that the mayor had. That notice did not go out to council members. I had no idea about his event. And I would say that simply if the borough is paying for, or whatever the borough is paying for, council members should know and council members should vote on what's being spent. You know, just because it's the mayor, you know, and he said he wants to have an event, you know, council has the right and is supposed to approve or not approve the expenses that he wants to spend.
So the mayor has a budget, and how the mayor chooses to allot that budget is not something that we vote on every single item.
And what is the budget? What is the mayor's budget?
So you would have received that when we voted on the budget back in December. The mayor has a line item for information.
Can you give me that information now? Can someone provide that information?
Hold on, I think
so that information can be provided to you offline in the interest of time. Our AP report was sent out to us, and these questions could have been provided to management and not on during our legislative session.
Well, I beg to differ because the community would like to know as well. The community has no access to the AP report, and they would like to see it as well. It needs to be posted on this website.
Councilor Jones-Waters, if in the event that you had questions and you wanted to present them, you could definitely have reached out prior to, and you could also have included this information now. But to try to hijack this conversation and divert it to something as if there's something to be hidden is inappropriate. So
it's inappropriate for the community not to know what's being
Councilor Jones-Waters, you are speaking out of order. I do my best to maintain order in these meetings. I'm going to ask you to respect that.
Madam President, can I just make a comment real quick? It was reported in writing. It was in the report at caucus last week, and I discussed it last week. So it was reported to council.
And it was advertised on our website. It was advertised on our social media. It was advertised everywhere that we receive information for our borough. Councilor Cave?
I also think it may be, and Mr. Nichols, correct me if I'm wrong, on May 13th, you set out the budgeted versus actual report. I think that would have been line item in that as well. Am I correct?
Yes, I sent that out to everyone on the May 13th, yes.
All right. All right, so I'm going to call for
I still have questions. It's just a few more, I see yard signs for $899. Are these signs for like the public works work yard, what are these yard signs?
These are the yard signs that appear in the borough. They say that Black Lives Matter, kindness is everything. They appeared in various areas around the borough. And we also allow residents who were interested to come pick one up as well from the borough.
Okay, so here's my concern with that. I was not privy to any communications with respect to whether or not we were getting signs, who was going to design the signs, what was going to be on the signs, so forth and so on. So just to see that we actually paid for signs and everyone wasn't aware of, I find that to be highly inappropriate. I feel like, one person is dictating how monies are being spent. And we have so many other issues that are affecting the quality of life of all of us in this borough, but we're spending $1,000 on these signs. We're spending almost $1,000 a month on web design for parties and parades. It's out of hand. We're being wasteful, and we cannot afford to be wasteful. Now, my next question is with respect to news. I see something in here for Finio Printing, 2 costs. One for, it says newsletter/communication, print and envelopes. Then it's another one that says administration, office administration, printed envelopes. So newsletters do not go into an envelope. So exactly what was the cost for? Because that's not an accurate description. Newsletters never go out in an envelope.
Mr. Nichols, are you able to provide any clarification?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. That doesn't have anything to do with the borough newsletter that they were talking about there. That communication had to do with some things that were printed that sent out, I think, from Public Works. I don't have the invoice in front of me, but I remember when I looked at it and saw the invoice, it had nothing to do with that. It had something to do with Public Works. The other envelopes that they're talking about are just regular admin envelopes that we have there.
Right.
And then it's like, I know they do our business cards, they do
yeah, I understand administration costs, but the other cost where it says newsletter/communications, printed envelopes.
Yeah.
So the printer printed, yeah, so I'm just a little confused with that.
And Counselor, I'll follow up with you, but I did look at that invoice. I know it had nothing to do with the actual newsletters that go out because they come from a post office somewhere else. That we don't put them in an envelope. This, I believe, has something to do with Public Works, but I will double check and I'll make sure that I email it to you first thing in the morning when I get to the office.
I would appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much.
And
that concludes my questions.
I have a question as it relates to what Ms. Roadcloud said concerning the signs that was purchased. Again, it did not come before council before we spent the money on the signs. And I just would like for us to have knowledge on things that we are spending in this borough. We are, as every single council member, is supposed to have knowledge and supposed to vote on what is being spent.
At this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Councilor Roadcloud?
No.
Councilor Jones-Waters?
No.
Councilor McCabe?
Yes.
Councilor Cave?
Yes.
Councilor Francis?
Yes.
Councilor Johnson? Councilor Johnson?
Yes, I'm sorry, I was muted.
It's a yes from me. The motion carries. Mr. Councilor Cave?
Madam President, Council, may I have a motion to consider the cash balance report, please?
So moved.
ma'am.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded.
Madam President, I ask council to allow me to remove what I believe to be a Zoom bomber, Risa Chopra, who is sending inappropriate messages to council members and to the panelists.
Thank you.
Can I remove that person?
Thank you.
I want to acknowledge Chief Preparer who brought it to my attention. He's keeping it cyberly too.
All right. Councilor Roadcloud?
No.
Counselor Jones Waters,
No.
Counselor McCabe,
I'm sorry, I got sidetracked with the,
this is the cash balance report.
oh, okay, yes.
Counselor Cave,
Yes.
Counselor Francis,
Yes.
Counselor Johnson.
Yes.
The yes from me, the motion carries. I'd like to ask at this time if anyone has any updates to their reports that they need to provide. This would be ordinance and zoning, public works, public safety, and recreation. Are there any updates, or is everyone asking that they be I'm sorry, Councilor Cave, you had one more motion.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Councilman, I have a motion to consider the borough entering into an agreement with NJN and Associates LLC to serve as the borough management and financial services consultant.
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
Having been moved and properly seconded, I'll proceed with the roll call vote.
I have a question.
Councilor Rowe-Cloud.
I have nothing to compare to. I never read a contract. I never seen a contract. I have absolutely nothing to compare to with respect to what NJN and Associates is proposing now.
So that information was provided to you in your email. And again, if this were something that we needed to discuss as a council, then those questions should have been brought forth, and we would have called an executive session.
What was provided in an email was his proposed services.
So those are the proposed services that we're voting on, and the contract doesn't change.
But I don't have anything to compare it to. I don't know what his services were last year or the year before that. So I have nothing to compare it to. I don't know if he's adding services, subtracting services. I don't know any of the financial information. I have nothing.
Mr. Gibbs, can you please weigh in on the contract?
So, Councilor Rowe-Cloud, if council approves the proposal, I draft the contract on behalf of the borough. Send it to him. I'll be happy to send you a copy, and I'll let Mr. Nichols address any changes. I didn't see any substantive changes at all. Nichols, you want to address that?
Yes, Mr. Gibbs and Mayor and Council, there are no changes over last year's proposal under a contract that came from us.
And again, thank you. Again, I am asking council that to please read your emails, and if you have these questions, we can definitely have these discussions in executive session. We can call special meetings. We can do any of that, but now wouldn't be the time to just say that you don't have the information. We've had this in our inboxes for a while now.
Well, I think you misunderstood my question. I said I did not have any information to compare the new information that was given to us in the email.
Thank you, but
That's
I didn't
what I
misunderstand. If you would like more information, you could also have requested that as well. So at this time, I'm going to move forward.
It should be given.
All right, to a roll call vote. Councilor Rowe-Cloud.
I would like to ask a question.
Councilor McCabe.
Yeah, I would just like to ask a question because usually a contract gives the duration of the contract. It gives other information like days off, holidays.
So this is the, Councilor McCabe, this is the proposal. The contract will come directly from the solicitor, and we will vote on that separate. So this is the proposal of services.
Will he put in the other components of a contract?
Yes.
I have historically done that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I circulated to council.
Okay. Well, I don't remember seeing that. Okay.
We've done it in person before. It hasn't been on email. I've circulated it when we've been in the caucus then.
Okay.
I have a question.
Councilor Jones Waters.
We need to make it a common practice of having executive sessions. Therefore, it wouldn't be an issue when we have our council meetings. This needs to be something that needs to happen all the time.
Thank you. Duly noted. Councilor Rowe-Cloud.
This is not how we conduct business. No.
Councilor Jones Waters.
No.
Councilor McCabe.
Yes.
Councilor Francis.
Yes.
Councilor Cave.
Yes.
Counselor Johnson.
Yes.
So yes from me, the motion carries. Thank you, NJN, for all you do, and welcome back for another year. At this time, if zoning, public works, public safety, or recreation have any updates to their meetings, their minutes submitted at caucus, I would like you to submit them in that order. Are there any updates for ordinance and zoning?
Madam President, this is the solicitor. I would ask for a motion to approve the 2021 shade tree removal list for advertisement pursuant to the Pennsylvania Borough Code.
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
Second, Madam President.
Having been moved and seconded on the question, I'll proceed with the roll call vote.
Yes.
Counselor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Counselor McCabe,
Yes.
Counselor Cave,
Yes.
Counselor Francis,
Yes.
Counselor Johnson.
Yes.
The yes from me, the vote is unanimous, the motion carries. Any ordinance and zoning updates?
There is no changes to the report that was submitted last at caucus.
Thank you. Public Works?
No changes as submitted from caucus meeting.
Thank you. Public Safety?
No change from caucus either.
Thank you. Recreation?
No change from caucus, Madam President.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Madam
So
President.
moved. Second.
Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.